And now, presenting the field for the 32nd Spring Fever. Number 1 is Artistic Diva, owned by Ronis Racing and trained by John Sadler. The jockey, Tyler Bays. Number 2 is Stone Street Stables and Peter Liddell's Mount Brave. Steve Asmussen is the trainer, and the jockey is Ricardo Santana Jr. Number 3 is Klein Racing's Break Even. Brad Cox is the trainer, and the jockey is Joe Talabo. Number 4 is Amy's Challenge, owned by Novogratz Racing Stables Incorporated and trained by Mac Robertson. The jockey, Alex Canchari. Number 5 is Midnight Fantasy, owned by the Carl Moore Management and trained by Joe Sharp. The jockey, Martin Garcia. And completing the field, number 6, Lawrence P. Roman's What a Fox. Robertina Diodoro is the trainer, and the jockey is Orlando Mojica. That's the field for the 32nd running of the Spring Fever. They're off. Break Even at Midnight Fantasy, a hard send Mount Brave, Artistic Diva at the rail, Amy's Challenge away in 5th, and the early trailer is What a Fox, Break Even, narrowly in front. 2 inside of her to challenge, Mount Brave and Artistic Diva, these 3 across the track. Midnight Fantasy races 4th and a length and a half from the front. Defending champion, Amy's Challenge from off the pace today. She's 5th and 2.5 off the lead and 6 back to What a Fox. They round the far turn in the 32nd Spring Fever, Mount Brave, Break Even, and Artistic Diva. These 3 right across the racetrack. Midnight Fantasy within a length and a quarter of the lead. Then comes Amy's Challenge, top of the stretch. Mount Brave has a short lead. Midnight Fantasy is running a very big race. Break Even is gone. Break Even backs out of it. Amy's Challenge 3rd. Midnight Fantasy sweeps to the lead. She's a length and a half in front of Amy's Challenge, trying to run after her. Midnight Fantasy reaches. Amy's Challenge attacks. Midnight Fantasy, Amy's Challenge, Midnight Fantasy. The 32nd Spring Fever goes to Midnight Fantasy over a fast-closing Amy's Challenge. What a Fox 3rd, Mount Brave 4th. And now returning to the winner's circle, the winner of the 32nd running of the Spring Fever, Midnight Fantasy, and jockey Martin Garcia. Midnight Fantasy is owned by Carl Moore Management. Joe Sharp is the trainer. Running time, 1 minute 3 3/5 seconds. In the winner's circle to present the trophy for the 32nd running of the Spring Fever are Marcus and Crystal Osborne.
Down in the Larry Snyder winner circle with owner Carl Moore, who sent out Midnight Fantasy, trained by Joe Sharp and ridden to victory by Martin Garcia. This gave you a double on the card. I think that's a pretty good way to get a double by scoring the Spring Fever.
It's been an awesome day. Martin gave them both great trips and set them up for a win, and he gave them a great ride.
Now, she's been very successful scoring multiple stakes against Louisiana breds, but it's definitely safe to say she's more than a pretty face against Louisiana breds today.
Oh, exactly. No, she's an awesome filly. We just think she's going to keep getting better and better. She's been awesome.
Well, she definitely proved she is very tactical and beat a very accomplished group. Do you have any say in where we might get to see her next, or is this all up to Joe?
Well, we talk obviously together, but we haven't picked that yet. One race at a time.
Well, congratulations, and I'm sure you'll be celebrating this evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations as Midnight Fantasy victorious in this year's Spring Fever at a big price.